Hello everyone, and welcome to Jam Academy. In this lesson, we want to talk about the meaning and implication of systems, or the system approach to solving physics problems. The universe itself is very large, and the universe itself contains so many objects. But when we single out a particular object or group of objects and pay our attention on those objects, we call that object or group of objects a system. In other words, a system is anything or any group of objects that we focus our attention on at that particular time. Let me give an example. If our attention is focused on the motion of a particular box or a particular car, then that car constitutes our system. Now, if our attention is focused on me, then I am the system. But if the attention is focused on a group of objects such as these two boxes, then these two boxes constitute our system. The good thing is, when we identify our system, anything not part of the system becomes what we call the environment or the surroundings, and it's part of the universe. Now, here's the thing. When a system interacts with an object outside of the system, it generates what we call external forces. But when one part of a system interacts with another part of the same system, it generates what we call internal forces. This is really crucial because by virtue of Newton's third law of motion, forces are always generated in pairs. And these pairs of forces, called interaction pairs, are always equal in magnitude but oppositely directed. That means that when you consider a given system made up of more than one object, the internal forces will always cancel out each other. And if the internal forces always cancel out each other, it means that for the system to move, in other words, for the position of the system to change, it must be under the influence of external forces. So to sum this all up, by virtue of Newton's third law of motion, the motion of a system is the result of an external force acting on that system. That is important for you to know that. Now, keep in mind that the energy of an object or system is the ability of that object or system to do work. So the question is, what is work? Work is the transfer of energy when an object moves another object. That is a very limited definition. Let me give it a much more broader definition of work. Work is simply the transfer of energy when a force moves its point of application. What does that mean? It means that if we have a person, here is our guy, pushing on a box. He pushes on a box with a certain force F. Let me call this box A and this box B. You will also realize that box A is exerting a force on B. This is the force that A exerts on B. And also, by virtue of Newton's third law, box B exerts a force on A. This is a force that B exerts on A. So you can clearly see that the force that A exerts on B is equal but opposite to the force that B exerts on A. This is Newton's third law of motion. So the motion of our system per se is only due to the external force F. And by Newton's second law, the net external force acting on our system is equal to the mass of our system multiplied by its acceleration. This is the statement of Newton's second law of motion. In other words, the motion of a system is really due to the external forces acting on that system. Now that means that when a system interacts with objects outside of the system in its surroundings or in its environment, it generates external forces. But if a system does not interact with its environment, there are no external forces acting on that system, in which case it will remain at rest, or it will keep on moving with a constant velocity in accordance with Newton's first law of motion. A system that does not interact with its environment is what we call a closed or isolated system. So there are two kinds of system. A system can either be isolated or non-isolated. An isolated system does not interact with the surroundings. It does not interact with the surroundings, which means that no external force acts on the system. And if no external force acts on the system, no energy can be transferred into or out of the system. No energy can be transferred into or out of the system. The total energy content of such a system will remain constant, because energy can neither leave nor enter the system through work. Now, a non-isolated system is a system that interacts with the environment. That means that work can be done on or by the system, and whenever work is done, energy is transferred. Therefore, energy can enter or leave the system. Such a system is said to be non-isolated or not closed. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next lesson. Bye-bye.